Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for
Sure.
joining me tonight.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're really excited to talk to you. Sorry, I'm just noticing this giant bubble in my hair as my video turns on. Quit
No, you're
messing with
fine.
that. um, Jess is putting her daughter to bed, so it'll just be us, and I'll make sure that I have everything set up on this end. But first, oh yeah, yeah. Um, she set up the link, so I just wanted to make sure that everything looked right. So yeah, so we're I know you heard kind of what Jess has put out through Courtney about what we're doing, but we're trying to basically talk to moms from a variety of perspectives about how they have handled this time, whether they're
Right.
working moms, I should say, how they've handled career, whether they've had to step back, do things differently, stay home, take care of the kids, how these amazing moms are balancing all of that. And when you reached out, we're like, oh my gosh, wait a second, she's also managing all the kids at school, like
Yeah.
mom of four, and however many, how many kids do you have in your school, K through 8?
315.
Okay. 350 kids at school, 4 kids at home, and you're also helping other parents in what free time? I'm not sure where you must
Right.
have more than 24 hours in your day, Ashley. But
Right.
we just thought it would be a really great addition to the story. So thank you for making yourself available and giving us some of your time.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
We'll make it pretty easy. I like it to be just sort of a conversation, and nobody will ever see this entire thing. It's not live or anything like that. We won't post it. So if there's something that I ask you that is a bad question, doesn't make sense, or if you stumble or you want to start over, anything like that, you can just kind of call the timeout and we can reset. So just hopefully that makes you more comfortable, and it shouldn't be hard. No trick questions, really, just kind of what your experience has been, and we'll sort of walk through that from a couple different angles.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Great. So I'm going to start recording. Yep. And the first thing I'll have you do is just go ahead and say and spell your name, and then also give us your title and your school, so we make sure everybody here at the station gets it right.
Awesome. Okay. So my name is Ashley, Ashley, Hall, Hall hyphen green, like the color. I am currently principal of Ohio College Preparatory School. It is a K-8 school in Maple Heights, Ohio.
And also mom of 4.
Yes, and I am a mom of 4 plus 315.
And tell us your biological kids, or the kids that live in your household, let's say. How old are they? Give us their names and ages, if you don't mind.
Awesome. So I'll start with the oldest. Gavin is 13. He is in 8th grade, getting ready to go to high school next year.
Wow.
Then we have Todd. Todd is 8. He is in the 2nd grade. We have Gabriel, who just turned 6, and he's in kindergarten. And we have Gerald, who is 3 and will be 4 on Valentine's Day.
Oh, birthday coming up. That's exciting.
Yes.
So yeah, you're dealing with school age and still Gerald, not yet in school. Is he in preschool or anything like that?
He is. Currently, we have a nanny that comes to the house because he's not at the nursery or the preschool that he would normally go to. So we do have a nanny that comes to the house during the day, and she works on pre-K standards and skills with him at home while I'm at work.
With those other 300 kids we were talking about. And are
Yes.
any of your sons in your school?
Actually, yes. 3 out of 4. So they're my student sons. They go to my school as well. And it's, for me right now, it's great having them with me every single day at school. I imagine once they get older, because I've been a high school principal too. So my son is my oldest is just kind of like, hey, don't make any sudden moves here. I would like to go to school by myself. So yes, 3 out of 4 of my boys are also my students.
And how long have you been at the preparatory college academy there?
Sure. I've been at Ohio College Preparatory School. This is my second year being principal here. But I have been a principal now for 6 years, and I've been in the field of education for 13. So before that, I taught fifth grade.
Awesome. So let's maybe start there and then we'll kind of walk back into it. Just as an educator that you are, this year, I mean, and I don't mean just 2021, obviously, but looking back at all we have seen since March when we first went on this extended spring break that it turned into all of the changes that have come for schools and for teachers and for students. What do you think when you reflect on all that?
I think about not so much the difficult aspects of it, but just the resilience that everyone, like at my school and just across the country, have really shown. I mean, we had to spring into action. There was no warning for that school closure. Like you said, we thought that it was going to just be an extended spring break and that we would be back to normal in the beginning of April. And that just wasn't the case. I have an awesome staff at school. The teachers are dedicated. They were working during the shutdown, making sure that students and families had what it was that they needed. And they've been doing that ever since. So I would just say when I think about the school shutdown and the pandemic, I think about the resilience that everyone has shown and just how we all came together as a family to do what's best for kids.
That is so good to hear. And obviously, each school has sort of been on their own in some ways to sort of fend for themselves or figure out what's going to be best for their students. What has that looked like at Ohio College Preparatory School?
Sure. So we have a very supportive superintendent. She's on the ground, and she's there to help us through whatever it is that we need. If we need computers, which we did, so that we would be able to reach our students virtually, we got them. Every one of our students has a laptop. We've got new curriculum that's aligned so that our students can participate virtually with whatever the teachers are currently planning. And just to be honest, the switch was almost, for us, seamless because we had been working during the shutdown as well. Even when our students didn't have computers, we were still making sure that they had everything. We were at the school passing out meals. We were making sure that we were printing off packets for those of us who did not have technology at home or access to any of the work that we were posting. So we just, like I said, we just came together as a family.
That's really good to hear. Have you been back in school physically at all this school year?
Yes. So my school is running 3 different learning options right now. We have students who are coming to our building every day. We see about 45 students in building. So my teachers are in the building. They are teaching inside of their classrooms. And we gave our parents a choice back in July when we found out that this was the school shutdown or virtual learning was going to last just a little bit longer than planned. We gave them a choice, and we had them to choose from 3 different options, one being traditional 5 days a week in the building, one being hybrid, where they spend 2 days with us and 3 at home. And they could also choose 100% virtual, where they're not coming into the building and they're participating in their classes on their Chromebooks that we provided. About 250 of my students out of the 315 are learning at home, and that is a choice.
And that's been what you've kind of maintained from the beginning of this fall school year through now then?
Yes.
Those students at home versus whatever. Okay. That sounds like a lot to manage as a principal, you know, to have students in 3 different places.
Definitely. But like I said, I have a team that works tirelessly. My assistant principal to my office manager. So like I said, it's difficult to manage when you think about it. But if I didn't have the dedication of the teachers and staff that I have at my building, it would be even more difficult than just thinking about it. It would be difficult.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit, since we're kind of focused on your career, your job right now. Let's talk a little bit about what you do sort of freelance as well. You also are working with families outside of your own school and helping them kind of figure out their plans, how they can manage this. What wide range of situations have you had to walk families through from that perspective?
Definitely. So I do have an educational consulting company that I run, and currently I'm helping parents to get through this difficult time. I have parents in different states. Right now I am working with the family out of Miami, Florida. They don't seem to be getting the accommodations that they need per what his IEP states that he should have. He does have special needs, and mom reached out to make sure that his needs were getting met and for a second opinion on exactly what was going on in school. So I made sure to look at the IEP. I gave her some advice, and I'll be attending an IEP meeting with her coming up pretty soon, just as an advocate and a support, so that she knows that she has someone else that she can turn to.
It seems like as moms, we all kind of need that this year, even if it's not educational, like it is in your specific example here, but just that person to lean on and say, like, is this right? Does that seem right to you? I mean, we've all been through so much. Is that what it feels like when you talk with your friends?
Definitely. And my friends will call me and say, hey, this just happened at my child's school. What do you think about that? Or what would you do to get more involved if you were me in this situation? And I'm able to help them through. And that's kind of why I started consulting with the focus of parents. Because I had so many friends that had questions, I just started to think there's probably so many more moms out there and dads that are just in need of someone to kind of listen to what's going on and to help them come to a positive solution that will benefit their child in the long run.
And tell me more about how, if someone felt like you could help them and their family, how could they reach out to you for consulting?
Sure. So my Instagram page is AH Green K12. You can instant message me. My email is located on my Instagram page. I also have a button on my Instagram page that says book now. And on that button, you would be able to schedule a phone call or a Zoom with me so that we can talk more about whatever the issue is that you're seeing with your child.
Thank you. I think that'll be really helpful for people. We'll make sure we put all of that in the web story once this airs as well. So let's walk back, and you can put your mom hat on now. Take the principal hat off for a second.
Yep. Put mom hat on.
What was that like in March, as you learned this, as you knew schools were closing, as you were trying to manage, what the future of your school would look like for your students, but also for your student sons, for your family?
Right. So I think that whatever I was thinking and whatever I was going through was parallel with probably every other mom in the United States. What are we going to do? I have to work from home. How am I going to do that? How am I going to keep up with my job, my career? And then also, how do I make sure that my children actually get what they need from me as their mom during this, really busy time? And it was difficult at first, but we developed a system. My 13-year-old, he's independent. It was to a point where we could just say, okay, you know what your schedule is, you know what you need to get done. Let's check in, a few times a day to make sure. But I would say the biggest challenge would have been who is now in kindergarten, Gabriel, and then our youngest, who had just turned 3 years old at the time. So, I'm on conference calls. I was really working from home, and it was hilarious. One day, my superintendent, my 2-year-old, he was 2 at the time, said, I want PBJ. And my superintendent was like, he said he wants PB&J. Go and get him the peanut butter jelly sandwich. What are you doing? So their relationship developed over the pandemic because he was constantly like I stopped trying to, move him out of the camera during some of my meetings. He was there. He was there. And they developed a really great relationship during that pandemic as well, because he would be right there. He's 2. You really can't, what do you do?
That's really kind of wonderful. I love hearing that. And yeah, I mean, when you talk about younger children and just that need you to be hands-on, and also just by your presence, when you were at school all day, you obviously made arrangements for them and they were taken care of. But the fact that you are home, it's almost like they want or need mom more in some way.
Definitely more PB&J sandwiches than I've ever made in life. So yeah.
So summer, obviously I can imagine, just by the nature of it being summer, school being closed, you had a little time to figure things out a little bit. But what were there kind of goals you set for yourself as the family, or things that you said, if we're still doing this, as we now know we were, 6 months later, 8 months later, 9 months later, 10 months later, what efficiencies have you created?
So one of the things that I implemented with my family, we needed I learned that it wasn't just, I'm used to creating master schedules for high school, especially master schedules for a K-8. A high school is a little bit more complicated. But I created a master schedule for my family. We needed it. And I knew once things resumed, like sports, once activities, my son, my oldest is in Japanese class. He takes Japanese because he wants to be a software engineer. So in his mind, he's like, I gotta learn Japanese. And I'm like, okay. So keeping up with the classes that he wants to take, keeping up with doctor's appointments, once everything opened back up, dentist appointments for everyone, eye doctor appointments, play dates, which are kind of like Zoom dates now, birthdays, just making sure that those are really special. Even during a pandemic when we might not be able to get out, I had to make a master schedule. And I update it monthly, and I try to make sure that there's time for everyone, that no one is bored. So when the shutdown first happened, the focus was, of course, on work, on getting everyone on the computer, making sure everyone, was on time for their classes. But my 2-year-old was kind of like, what am I supposed to do? So now we're utilizing the pre-K standards to teach him. My nanny comes over and she goes over those things with him. So he even has a schedule, even though he's not really playing sports or anything like that yet, but he's got a schedule now. And the master schedule really helped, really helped.
I can see that sounds like a really smart idea, especially with 4 children. And for you, where does you mentioned your nanny, where does your other support come from? What other adults are supporting you? You have a partner or your other family members stepping in too?
My husband is supportive. When I say that he jumped right in and has been dad of the year. He's been dad of the year. Number one, I'm outnumbered in the home. I'm mom. I've got 4 boys. If my brother is over ever, my husband, I'm totally outnumbered. So he is the one that makes sure that they have what they need. He's making sure that he's signing them up for sports. He's making sure that they're learning, the basic social needs, because for a while they weren't able to go to school, especially for my kindergartner. Another help would be my mother, also my mother-in-law. We have a host of uncles and aunts that we all pitch in and help one another as well. So family was something that we really had to lean on during this time.
It sounds like, and your family, was there for you. And I know, just because you talk to so many other moms of your students and those you consult with, not everyone, of course, had that luxury. Why do you feel like moms ended up being the ones that sort of are the shock protector or absorber, not protector? Let me start over there. Why do you feel like moms ended up being the shock absorbers, the ones that kind of had to figure it out for everybody?
To be honest, I think historically, society always leans on moms. I do. I feel like even, like in history, when you're looking at the family structure, and maybe you're even studying about different cultures when you're in school, moms always play like the biggest part. And I think whether society has chosen to rely or lean on moms in secret or publicly, it always comes down to, what does mom think? What does mom think we should do about this? What are we going to do? Where does mom think we should go with this? So I think historically it's always fallen back on moms, because I think society looks at women as symbols of strength. I do.
I think you're right. That's a very good way to put it. I love that. It was very eloquent. Um, what do you hope for in 2021? Like, you seem like you are a very positive person. I can tell you're motivating me over here, but I feel like, things we've got to they can get better. They should. Let's hope. What's your best hope for the year ahead?
So someone actually was asking me, what does education look like in 2021? And I heard a lot of other answers. Well, maybe things will go back to normalcy. And I think that we should look at things in a different lens. I don't think that we'll ever go back to normalcy, right? Because even when I'm looking at some of, the kindergartners, in addition to my son who's in kindergarten, they don't know school any other way. They think that this is normal. And there are some first graders who are kind of like, this is normal, because their year was cut short last year when they were in kindergarten. So I don't think that we should rely on normalcy. I'm really excited to see where creativity takes us. I'm looking to see, what new things are going to come about. I think the initial shock of the shutdown, of having to quarantine for so long, I think those things are like, okay, this happened, right? But now, how are people going to adjust to that? What new things are going to come from us having to be shut down like that? Where's the creativity going to take us? I think is my biggest question, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I think we're going to see like a lot of remixes to things. People are going to get really creative in a minute, and I can't wait to see it, actually become televised or out in the open. But I think people are being creative now. We probably just haven't been able to see it, but I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, once we're all back together again and we realize what everybody's been up to. I think that in education especially, it seems like maybe some of those things got fast tracked too. Like you mentioned, just with your students, they didn't all have computers at the beginning of this. And maybe had this not happened, prioritizing that and making sure they all got computers and got up to speed on that would have taken longer than it did. I mean, are there some kind of silver linings to being forced to look at some of these questions or how we do things?
Yes, definitely. Because one of the things that everyone was pushing for, especially for students who didn't have computers at first, it was, let's get computers into everyone's hands. We've got to get computers into their hands. Now, the push, at least for me right now, is thinking, now that they have these computers, let's advance their tech knowledge. Let's start working on, increasing their capabilities. We know how to copy and paste now. We've got third graders who understand, like, this is how I write an essay. But what else can we get them to do? So definitely.
And I love how I guess because you can spend so much time with them and you see it in your son as well, how these newest students, like, this is normal. This is the world. I had a daughter who was born in May. And I feel that same way, like when people ask me about her and what this postpartum period's been like, and I'm like, I don't know any different. And,
Yeah.
oh, she must be afraid of the mask. I'm like, she's only ever seen people in masks. Like,
Yep. She wouldn't know any different.
Exactly. And for moms, what kind of supports do you see? Maybe even like things you try to provide as an educator, but what do you hope is out there for them as we move forward? And, you know, I'll say before you start to answer that, I feel like for once, maybe teachers are getting their due, you know, that parents, everybody at home started to recognize how hard you guys have been working.
Yes, that's one. So yeah, that was big. I was thoroughly excited um, to see parents emailing my teachers. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. I don't know how you do it with 20 something in the room when I have just one or two in the room, and I'm going nuts. But it was great to see that. As far as like moms are concerned, I'm hoping to see more mom led support groups, like just like how you and I are sitting down talking right now. I'm looking into who is going to start these groups, how popular can they get, how effective. I mean, to be able to sit down, and join a mom group. That was something when I had my babies, I wasn't really able to do. I mean, we weren't Zooming, 13 years ago. I could call family members like, I don't know what to do about this, but actually like sitting down in a group via Zoom, Skype, whatever it is, you know, it, to me, that's where the real support starts. When you really realize that there's a mom in Michigan, there's a mom in Florida, there's a mom in California that's going through the same thing that you're going through. So I'm hoping that just motherly support, mom to mom, is something that we'll see coming up. Because that's what I do now. Even with some of the parents, I had a parent walk in the other day and she says, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And usually when they walk in and they say that, I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? I start thinking of all the different scenarios. Was it the bus? Did something happen on the bus? Was it the lunch yesterday? What is it? But she just genuinely wanted to know, hey, he's changing a little bit at home. And I know that you said that you have 4 boys yourself. What do you think this means? And I'm like, wow, this had nothing to do with school. This was
Mhm.
genuinely someone who just another mom who wanted another mom's advice, just wanted some help. So I was very glad to help out with that.
That community that you're talking about, I mean, it's just so important to have that, to find that. And maybe Zoom and some of these things have made it easier, even if distance separates us, to find the community amongst moms.
Definitely. And I hope that it continues. I genuinely hope it does.
Is there anything I'm not asking you that you think is important, Ashley?
Um, I really think that you touched on it. Um, a lot of it. I don't think so. I think that you've gotten it all. Like about being a mom, supporting one another, what school is like right now. And I mean, a lot of schools are running just like one learning option, and I'm running 3.
Right.
So I was able to kind of touch on that.
Yeah, that is incredible. And let me, I did make a note here to ask you. So you are actually going in every day now?
Yes, I'm in the building
Okay.
daily.
And how about your sons? Did you make the decision to send them back in person, or do you have them? Yep.
So 2 of them, the younger 2, my kindergartner and my second grader, they are in school. They go to school with me every day. And my 13-year-old, like I said, he's very independent. He's doing well on his own with, minimum, check-ins that I do. So he's at home.
Okay. So he chose to kind of stay online then. Do
Yeah.
the
And then the
virtual
nanny
option.
is here too with my 3-year-old. So if my 13-year-old like attempts to cook anything, she will she will try to, she will intervene. So yeah,
And
it's
is
he's here.
and your husband, is he also having to like report to work? He's not working from home at this point
No,
either.
he's not working from home. He
Okay.
was, but he's not working from home. So we're both currently out of the house and at work.
And let me just ask you, because I don't know that I specifically did. Obviously, I think it's awesome that you gave all of these options to the families in your school. Do you notice a difference just as an educator, if you put that hat back on, um, for students that are back in the classroom versus the ones who are virtual at this point over this year?
I noticed a difference for many different reasons. The number one difference that I'm noticing, when we first shut down last March, we lost contact a little bit with families. We worked really, really hard to get that contact back, even when we didn't have computers to pass out during that time. We were calling, we were emailing, and it was scary to lose touch with your students. Not knowing if everyone is okay, not being able to see them. So one of the things that we've done, I know that we offered our parents that option to choose which one of the modalities or the learning options that they wanted to participate in. But I have also made suggestions for children who I know we have the potential of like not talking to you for, a few days, because that has happened before and it scared me. So maybe in building learning, maybe it's just 2 days hybrid, or maybe it's the full 5 days would be best, for that child. And I was able to talk to the parent about that. We provide free busing, free transportation. So, we will get your child back in and to school every single day as well. We just want to make sure that everyone is okay. So that's the first thing. The relief that it's brought, being able to see the ones that we know we need to see every single day. Number two, it's a little bit hard, but the ones that are in school with us, we're also able to say like, hey, earlier when we were in our class on the computer, I know you kind of didn't get that. Let me explain this to you really quickly. And we're able to do that. And I know that there's a lot of schools right now who are still 100% remote, but I know for us, having the 3 learning options and having our teachers in the building, because we also have parents who will come up like, hey, something's wrong with my computer. Can someone help me out? How do we do this assignment? We're accessible, which is also awesome. We're in the building. They know where to find me and they know where to find my teachers. So it works out.
You hit on it when you said accessible. I bet there's so many families that thought that was a sigh of relief, when they knew they could reach you, even if the internet wasn't working or all the tech issues we've all lived through over the last 10 months. Like you said, they knew where to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much for making time for us tonight. I think we have so much to work with. And of course, we got to boil everything down and add in all these other mom stories that we're working on. One thing I know that we'll need from you is any photos you can provide. I would love a family photo of all of you, if you feel comfortable with that. And then if you have any of yourself from school, I know I've been on your website and the Facebook page. So I thought if it was okay with you, if we got your permission, we could potentially pull some things from those places as well.
Definitely. And I have some more recent photos, like during the shutdown, we've had so many different things. We had a virtual graduation for our kindergartners and our 8th graders. I mean, they were looking forward to that. We do it every year. And we had a drive-through one actually last year. So we have pictures of like the balloon arch that they drove under. We have all that. So I can send you that stuff. We just did a coat drive through Operation Warm. There's a ton of photos from before the shutdown as well, like with Grandparents' Day, Fathers Walk Your Child to School Day. I can send you all that.
That would be great. Whatever is sort of easily accessible, if you want to send us 10 or 15 photos,
Definitely,
or whatever you have. And then we're going to be working on this. I think the goal is for it to air middle of February. So it'll be maybe 2 or 3 weeks sort of. We're working on it now. So as soon as we get a little further into it, if there's anything else specifically that we're like, hey, you touched on this, is there any way, just because of course the nature of doing Zoom interviews, otherwise we'd be walking around the school with you and talking with you and getting, video.
We have a video if you like that.
Oh, that would be good.
I think it might be on our Facebook, but I can send it to you. It's a tour of the school. All the teachers are in it. I'm in it. And it's awesome.
Yeah, that would be super helpful then too. Yeah, a video would be great. I can look for it, or if you just want to, send me the link or whatever, an email too. We can
Yeah,
pull it down.
definitely. I'll send it to you.
So yeah, Jess and I will stay in touch with you, and as we get, we'll work through this. If we have any follow-up questions, we'll email you, and then of course we'll stay in touch so that you know when it's going to air. I think it'll be in our 11 p.m. broadcast. Like I said, sometime maybe second week of February or something like that, but we haven't actually we don't have a day on the calendar yet. So as we get closer,
Awesome.
we can let you know.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you for making yourself available and for your honesty. Like, I think so many things you said that were like, yes, oh my gosh, I know that there are moms out there who are thinking that very same thing. So
Definitely.
the misery loves company or community in this sense, and I think
Yeah.
we can all lean on each other as we make our way out of this pandemic.
Definitely, definitely. Well, yes, please let me know if there's anything you need, and I'll just go ahead and send over some things. I'll probably send them over to you tomorrow morning,
Okay.
and then I'll compile everything and send it to you so that you'll be able to have that too.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you. Thank you for reaching out to us too when you saw Courtney's post. We were lucky to find you.
Courtney's awesome. We grew up together. She's awesome.
She is, and she's so well connected. I'm like, we need to get her. I guess anytime we need to know who we're looking for a story, we should call her first.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Well, have a great night, Ashley, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks
you have
again.
a great night too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.